Have you ever looked out of an airplane window at 35,000 feet and thought about the fact that, right now, the air outside is somewhere around minus 60 degrees, 60 below, cold enough to kill you in minutes, and yet here you are, in a t-shirt, maybe eating peanuts, complaining the cabin's a little stuffy. That's not a heater. Well, it is, but not the kind you think. Most people assume there's a furnace in there somewhere, some big heating system fighting the cold, like the one in your house, burning fuel, pumping warmth through the walls, keeping the chill out. Here's the reality. There's no furnace. Not on a single airliner ever built. And if you tried to heat a cabin that way at 35,000 feet, you'd be fighting physics you can't win. Let's start with something you've felt yourself. You know how a bicycle pump gets warm when you use it? That's not friction from the moving parts. It's physics. When you squeeze a gas into a smaller space, compress it, you force its molecules closer together, and they crash into each other more. That crashing is heat. Squeeze air hard enough, and it gets genuinely hot. No fire, no element, no furnace. Just pressure. Now take that idea and scale it up by about 1,000. A jet engine isn't just a thrust machine. Before air ever reaches the part that burns fuel, it gets slammed through a series of spinning blades called the compressor. By the time that thin, freezing, 0.60 degrees air comes out the other side, it's been squeezed so violently that it's now hundreds of degrees hot. Yes, you heard correctly. The engine takes freezing air and, just by compressing it, turns it into air so hot it could cook you. And here's the part most people never think about. The plane siphons a little of that scorching air off before it gets burned as fuel. It's called bleed air, and that, not a furnace, is where the warmth inside your cabin comes from. But you're not sitting in a cabin that's 200 degrees, are you? Right, because that bleed air is way too hot to just pump into a plane full of people. The plane runs it through something called an air conditioning pack, a little machine that cools the scorching air down to around a comfortable 20 degrees and regulates the pressure so you can breathe normally. Think about what that means. The system keeping you warm at minus 60 degrees Celsius is, technically, an air conditioner. It's not spending energy to fight the cold outside. It's spending energy to cool down the heat the engine's already made for free. Aviation engineering is rarely about common sense, and almost always about physics. This is the perfect example. There's a second reason the plane does it this way, and it's the same system doing double duty. That compressed bleed air isn't just warm, it's pressurized. And pressure is the thing keeping you alive up there. At 35,000 feet, the air is so thin, there's barely enough oxygen to function. The cabin must be pressurized to roughly what you'd breathe at 8,000 feet. The same compressed air that warms you is also the air you're breathing. One system, two jobs. You can't heat and pressurize a cabin separately. The heat and the pressure come from the exact same place, in the exact same breath. That's not a design choice someone made because it was elegant. It's because physics doesn't give you another option. And here's the mind-bending part. Remember that little twisty vent above your seat, the one you half open, half close, trying to get the air just right? That vent isn't connected to a heater or an air conditioner in any way you'd recognize. The temperature in the cabin is set in the cockpit. All your vent does is adjust how much of that already comfortable, already pressurized air blows directly at your face. You're not changing the temperature, you're just choosing how much of the right temperature hits you. And about half the air you're breathing right now has already been through the cabin once, cycled through a filter, and pushed back in. The same physics, recycled. So, when you're next at 35,000 feet in a t-shirt, look out at that minus 60 sky, and remember what's really happening. The engines aren't just pushing you forward. They're crushing freezing air into something hundreds of degrees hot. The plane bleeds a little of that heat off, cools it down to just comfortable, and breathes it into the cabin, along with the pressure that's keeping you alive. You are warm because a machine is working to cool down the air around you. By the time you land, you'll never look at that little twisty vent, or that minus 60 sky, the same way again. If you love uncovering the hidden engineering behind our skies, the stuff that's been under your nose on every single flight, hit that subscribe button. There's a new layer of the sky to pull apart every week, and you're going to want to be aboard for it.